Welcome to the last session of Dealing with Difficult Emotions.
And the second to last session of the R3 Academy for Couples.
Remember that the purpose of this workshop is for you to create your own toolbox out of the 24 tools that you've learned.
Because some of the tools that work for me may not work for you. That's why we want you to create your own customized toolbox using only the tools that you think will be effective for you.
Let's get out our workbooks and get started.
Hello, welcome to session 3, the third and last session of Dealing with Difficult Emotions. Once again, my name is Alfonso and I'll be your instructor for this last session. Let's get started. The primary emphasis of our class today will be to give you an opportunity to add a lot of new tools to your toolbox. Then you will need to work with each of the tools on your own, using some of them in a preventive way and others in an immediate way when you are experiencing a difficult emotion in response to a certain situation. In your workbook on page 11, you'll be able to check which tools are preventive ones and which are immediate ones. We've talked about page 11 the last session. So you want to try each of the ones of these tools, see how they work for you. Some of them may not work as well as others, so that you can decide which ones you can rely on as being workable for you. Remember, your long-term goal is to always be able to avoid getting to level 10 with your anger or other difficult emotion, where there is an out-of-control explosion that causes damage of some sort, either to a relationship or to property, or to any other damage that can come from getting out of control. So to avoid a level 10, it pays to have a good group of preventive tools that you can employ regularly so that your emotional responses stay manageable. You'll want to be doing these regularly enough to generate real impact. It's like workouts, right, at the gym. Doing it once won't produce much in terms of muscle growth, right? You need to do it regularly. It reminds me of when my daughter went to kindergarten for the very first time. She went and she was nervous, and she went for the first day. When it was over, we picked her up. She said, we asked her, how was your day? She said, oh, it was fine. Yeah, I'm thankful that I'm done with kindergarten. And she had thought that it was a one-day thing. And we know if you want to learn and expand your knowledge, it's a lifetime of learning, right? You have to go through first through 12th grade and then college and whatnot. So you need to work at it, right? It's the same here. The more you can put these into practice, the more they'll be helpful to you. Doing the preventive things in your toolbox that reduce the intensity of your emotional response should be a regular and thing that you do as a routine. Meanwhile, it will also pay to have a good group of immediate tools ready at hand for when you're in the heat of the moment. Because remember this, when you're feeling a difficult emotion such as anger, it will not be particularly easy for you to think about the new ways of handling the anger. So you need to have these new tools ready for use, ready to be deployed. Something you have experience and confidence in, because it can be really tempting to fall back into your old anger habits. I don't want you to fall back into your old habits for dealing with these difficult emotions. So you're going to need to get experience with these new tools for use in the immediate moment, so they can become a new part of your natural reflexes, right? When you experience a threatening situation. So what the toolbox offers you is a range of tools that will give you a two-pronged approach. We're going to review the toolbox. As I mentioned, the tools give you a two-pronged approach. Diminishing the intensity of the emotional response through preventive tools, and getting comfortable and confident enough in the tools for handling an immediate situation where your emotion is triggered that you can rely on these tools to keep you in the safe zone. You want to have enough of both so you feel adequately supported, right, in your goals for dealing with difficult emotions. I don't really care what tools you select. What works for you might not work for the next person, right? And vice versa. If it works for you, then great, put it in your toolbox. It's that simple. So we're going to cover lots of tools. We're going to review the ones that we've done in the past, and then we're going to go over some new ones, some of which, will take a while to discuss, and others that are quick and easy and that you might already know them, right? Consider all of them as candidates for your toolbox for dealing with difficult emotions. Let's start this by looking at emotions. What is your understanding of what emotions are? Emotions is information, right, about how our body is reacting or responding to what is going on around us. Each emotion provides us with specific information about how we are feeling. Kind of an early warning signal, if you will, to help you recognize a stimulus and start to understand how to respond to our experience of that stimulus. One way to think about emotions is that each of them exists for a reason, right? If you can find the value of each of your emotions, it helps you express them in beneficial ways, in ways that help you get your needs met without causing harm to yourself or to others. For example, expressing your anger to someone who has done something that hurt you can help them better understand the impact of their behavior and think about how they might be able to change it so that it doesn't cause a problem for you, right? Another example of appropriately expressing an emotion is experiencing your fear about something without having to hide or avoiding it. A helpful way to experience sadness is to feel the pain of loss without having to eat a gallon of ice cream, right? In an attempt to cover up that pain. These are all examples of how emotions can be useful to us in being able to understand and experience our needs and to get those needs met. Here's what is fascinating about emotions. Number one, they are transitory. They come and they go. That is, if they don't get blocked. If you can experience an emotion as it occurs, then you identify it by name, validate that it is happening, and not try to get it to go away, then its intensity will fade. Remember, I want you to remember a time when you were really excited about something, right? And I want you to think back. I remember, for instance, when I take my kids to Disneyland or to any theme park, right? The emotion they're experiencing before we go is anticipation, joy, excitement, right? And leading up to it, the night before they go to bed, and then when they wake up in the morning, it's Disney Day. They're excited about it, right? But what about 10 p.m. of that same day, right? They're still at Disneyland. We're still there. But they're not as joyful anymore, right? They're grumpy, they're hungry, they're tired, right? Because they've been there the whole day. They maybe didn't sleep that well the night before because they were excited, and now they're there, but that anticipation, that joy has faded. So it's there for a while, right? But then, like I said, it's transitory. It comes and then it goes. It's important for you to remember that. So all feelings are like that, right? If you experience them, then they will tend to pass along. But if you ignore your emotions or try to keep yourself from feeling them, then the feelings can build up, and this can result in a destructive outburst. This is especially true with buried anger. If you push your anger underground, it can pop up unexpectedly, catching you off guard, which can make it hard to manage, right? So it's important to acknowledge that emotions are part of your life. They are part of being a human being. And to deny your emotions is to deny part of yourself. Just like if you were to deny that you need food, water, and sleep, you can't, right? They are part of being alive as a human being. Emotions are part of the same package. Number two, the second important point about feelings is that each person creates their own feelings. Keep in mind the emotions flow chart that shows that whatever the stimulus is in any situation, it passes through you and interacts with the state of your health, your chemistry, your neurotransmitters, your memories, and your various self-management skills. Therefore, whatever emotion you experience is uniquely something that you have created inside of you. The person or event that provides the stimulus plays a very small part in this. You are the person with the lead role in this situation. You are the star of the show. Therefore, an important part of self-management is to take responsibility for having the feelings that you have, that you and I have, which again points to the fact that by taking responsibility for creating your own experiences of things, you also gain the opportunity to have control over how you respond to them. Taking responsibility for creating the responses you have to stimuli you encounter in your life increases the power you have to deal with them in ways that you can feel good about and that enable you to get your needs met successfully. Let's now talk about our next tool, taking a time out. We've all heard of taking a time out, right? It's a tool that is quite simple and also quite important. It is recommended for inclusion in everyone's toolbox for dealing with difficult emotions. Informally, a timeout is defined as leaving the situation that is causing the escalation of anger or another difficult emotion, or simply stopping the discussion that is provoking this anger or this difficult emotion. As a result, this can be very useful in preventing your anger from escalating. Now, the person calling the timeout can leave the situation if necessary. So you're in an argument with somebody, you're having a discussion, and you can feel yourself getting angry. Remember that thermometer? You're at a 4 going towards a 9, right? And you say, you know what? Timeout. I'm going to call a timeout, and if necessary, I'm going to leave the situation and come back when I calm down. Now, it is agreed, however, that he or she will return, whoever left, right, to either finish the discussion or to postpone it officially, right? Depending upon whether all those involved feel they can successfully resolve the issue. So just by taking a timeout doesn't mean that you're never going to bring it up again. You can both agree, you know what, it's getting heated, let's take a timeout, let's reconvene in an hour, whatnot, because we both think we can reach a resolution, okay? Now, timeouts are important because they can also be effective in the heat of the moment, like I just mentioned. Even if your difficult emotion is escalating, you can prevent reaching a 10 by taking a timeout and leaving the situation. Timeouts can also be used along with other strategies, right? As an example, you can take a timeout and go for a walk. You can also take a timeout and call a trusted friend or a family member, or write in your journal, or listen to some soothing music, or take a cold shower, whatever it is that you do to calm yourself. These other strategies should help you calm down during the timeout period. As I've mentioned previously, and I'll mention again, you can use a mix and match some of these tools that we're giving you in your toolbox. So you can use more than one at the same time. This is one of them, right? We can take a timeout and combine it with another tool that you have, like listening to music, going for a walk, talking to a friend, etc. The next tool we want to discuss is thought stopping. This is a simple and immediate tool for dealing with difficult emotions, where you simply tell yourself through a series of self-commands to stop thinking of the thoughts that are getting you angry or upset. For example, you might tell yourself, I need to stop thinking these thoughts. I'm going to only get into trouble if I keep thinking this way, right? Or Alfonso, don't buy in the situation, or Alfonso, don't go there, right? Things that you're telling yourself, right? In other words, the goal with thought stopping is simply to stop your current pattern of angry thoughts before they lead to an escalation of anger and loss of control. It's a simple and direct model to use when you're in a situation where you're starting to feel angry, right? You're at a party, you're with other people, and you're starting to get upset, right? This is a great tool for you to use, and nobody's gonna know you're using this tool because you're speaking to yourself, right? These are the thoughts in your head, right? You're telling yourself, Alfonso, calm down. You know better than this. Don't respond back to him. Whatever it is, you put a stop. It's an immediate tool that you can use right there and then to help you calm down and reduce that anger that's starting to build up. Again, the goal here is for you to not reach 5 or higher on the thermometer scale, right? On the anger thermometer, because as we know, once you go up into the 7s, 8s, 9s, and especially the 10s, when you're infuriated, then you can say or do something you're going to regret later on in life, right? It can lead to an arrest. It can lead to damaging somebody's property or injuring somebody else. And you can, like I said, you can get in trouble with the law, etc. So thought stopping is a great tool, an immediate tool that you can implement on the spot when you feel like you're getting really upset or any emotion that you might have that's rising on the thermometer scale. Let's now quickly review other calming techniques. Some of these are simple. You may have already heard of them, and maybe you already practiced them. So it may be a review for some of you. The first one that we want to talk about is counting to 10. Now, what do you think the benefit of counting to 10 is as a tool for dealing with difficult emotions? Well, it gives you time to calm down, right? When you're counting to 10, you're focused on counting to 10, and you deflect the focus on what you were thinking about that was causing you to get upset or angry, right? So you're focused on this now. So I'm counting to 10 now, right? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, however it is you want to do it, right? So number one, it gives you time to calm down. It also gives you time to gain perspective or to get perspective. Is this really worth it? Am I really going to get into a fight with this guy? Is it worth it? No. You gain perspective. You also gain time to think of another way to handle the situation, right? You're counting to 10, you're calming yourself down, and you're thinking of another way to get out of it. Maybe just as simple as walking away, maybe, right? So this one is important, counting to 10. I know as a child, sometimes when I was getting upset, my mom would tell me, count to 10. And they would calm me down, because like I said, you're focused on the actual counting, and you forget about what caused you to be upset or have that emotion that you have. The next one I want to talk about is drinking some water or also listening to some soothing music. What are some of the benefits of doing this, drinking water or listening to soothing music? The same as counting to 10. They share the same types of advantages, right? Gives you time to calm down, gives you some perspective, time to think of another way to handle the situation. And also, it looks like typical behavior that fits easily into any social situation, right? Like I mentioned, you're in a social gathering, maybe at school, at work, or at an event, where there's other people around, and you're starting to get upset about what somebody said or somebody did to you. Drinking a cup of water or drinking something, right? It's pretty normal, right? You're drinking water, and it lets you. So it's a typical behavior, right? So people are not gonna. It's not a red flag when they see you drinking water. They're not gonna know that you're trying to calm down, right? Because it's something that's typical behavior. And listening to music is as well, right? Who doesn't love music? Something that's soothing, right? Something that can relax you. And now, listen, now with all the technology that we have, with the AirPods and whatnot, people don't even have to know that you're listening to music, right? You can just put it in one ear and kind of go, so they won't see you in that side of your face, and you're listening to whatever calms you down, right? Listening to something soothing. Now, soothing is in the eye of the beholder, right? Music that's soothing to me might not be music that's soothing to you, but that's the beauty of this, right? You get to choose what works for you. Choose music that soothes you, okay? What are some, and listening to music, as like I said, it's something that's soothing, something that calms you down, and it gives you time to think of another way maybe to handle whatever situation you find yourself in. The bottom line is this. Both of these are very simple to do and are helpful tools to try out for your toolbox. These are simple things that that maybe you're already doing, right? The next one is exercise, right? You've all heard of this one, correct? This is something that when you are exercising, again, it gives you time to, number one, it creates some endorphins, right? From the exercise and makes you feel good, right? And again, some of the same advantages of the other ones that I've mentioned. It gives you time to calm down, gives you time to get some perspective, gains time to think of another way to handle the situation, and might give you some endorphins along the way, right? That change your mood. Because music and drinking water and do exercising, all of these are things that that are helpful and that work, right? I was once teaching a class in a jail, and we're talking about this subject, and one of the gentlemen there said, what? If it wasn't for exercise, I don't know what I would do. So like even in my small cell, I find a way, I get creative, and I find a way to exercise here, and it makes me feel good. It changes my mood just because and he said, he was honest about it. You know what? There's a lot of angry people in jail, right? You're away from family, you're away from friends, your loved ones, your life that you had, you no longer have it, and you're here constrained in a small little cell, and maybe especially during the holidays, special events, your anniversary, maybe your children's birthdays, and anger is an emotion that's natural for you to have, right? But he said, this is what keeps me because I don't have access to music here, yes, I can drink water, but that doesn't really do much for me, but exercise does. And just being active, it just changes my mood and also helps him with his health, right? So if this works for you, this is another one that is very powerful. And this one is actually both a preventive tool that modifies how you actually experience a threatening situation, and also an immediate tool that helps you deal with a threatening situation as well. So all four of these that I mentioned are calming techniques that help you gain control over your anger and other difficult emotions. There are also some more calming techniques, including deep breathing. This is a simple technique to reduce anxiety, irritability, and muscle tension. The technique here is to breathe from your diaphragm. Now, how you can make sure that you're breathing from your diaphragm is very simple. You put one hand in your diaphragm, okay, and another one in your chest, right? And then you start, when you inhale, You should feel the hand on your stomach rise, right? While the one on your chest remains mostly still. That's how you know that you're breathing through your diaphragm, right? Now here's a quick deep breathing exercise you can use to manage anger, stress, or other emotional upsets. We're going to do it. We're going to breathe in to let go of tension, okay? So how you do this is very simple. You inhale from your diaphragm, okay, not from your nose, not from your mouth, but from your diaphragm, while saying breathe in to yourself. Let's try it together. You mutter it to yourself, right? And you hold it, count to 4. 1, 2, 3. Then when you exhale, I want you to slowly exhale while saying to yourself, relax. Okay, let's do it together. Let's inhale and exhale, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Relax. Slowly, okay? And like I said, then you pause and you repeat it again, okay? Now, with each inhale, notice the parts of the body that tense up. Then as you exhale, feel the tension leaving your body. If you get distracted by thoughts, feelings, or sensations, simply return your focus to your breathing. Practice this exercise for 5 to 20 minutes and it will help you. Now, I want you to, how did you feel about this once you did it? Did it make you feel calmer and more relaxed in your body than you did it before you started this breathing exercise? I think it's very helpful, a very helpful tool to have handy. Okay? Now, what was your experience of your body when you did this breathing exercise? Okay, how did you feel? Did those thoughts go away? Did you calm down? Right? These are things that when you do use this tool, just breathing in and breathing out, it's very helpful. My wife is Judith is a therapist, and she uses this technique of breathing when she is dealing with children, because they don't really know sometimes, when they're small, how to breathe in. They can't concentrate enough to learn this skill. So she'll tell them, right, when she wants them to do a deep breathing exercise, to smell the flower. So can you smell the flower? And they go, right? And then she says, okay, now I want you to blow the candle of a cake. And imagine it's a birthday cake, and I want you to blow the candle. Right? So, and there you have it. Now your child is deep breathing. That's a little extra nugget for you there. So these are other deep breathing techniques you can use to reduce difficult emotions. So I encourage you to find one that works well for you and to do it every day to keep your stress level low so you are less susceptible to emotional upsets and outbursts. And this kind of breathing technique can also be used right when you start to feel tension mounting, right? As soon as you start to feel frustrated, irritable, or upset. If you wait until you're highly upset, it's going to be much harder to get yourself to relax. So keep these breathing techniques in mind as preventive approaches, or just when you start to feel some tension building up and developing. Let's now review the tools for dealing with difficult emotions that we've covered so far. Now, the central focus of our remaining time today will be to work on your toolbox for difficult emotions. So I want to start this by doing a quick review of all of the tools we have covered on this course, Let's go to page 4 in your workbook to the flow chart for dealing with difficult emotions. I'll give you a few seconds to go there. Page 4 of your workbook. Now, if you notice in the workbook, page 4, you see that it starts at the upper left with you, right? In a list of various preventive tools you can use that will reduce the way that triggering events impact you. So they have less of a stressful impact when they come along. Then we see, so we start with you, right, in the top of the page, and then we see a stimulus of some sort that occurs. It can be any kind of stimulus, but somehow it is one that you perceive as threatening to you. Then, when we follow along the pathway of that stimulus, the next point is that this stimulus interacts with your body. And how you react to that stimulus is influenced by your state of health or illness. So tool number 1, your state of health. Physical and mental health. Your state of health is influenced by biological factors, including nutrition, what you eat, right? Sleep, how much sleep how many hours do you sleep in a given night? Exercise, do you go for a walk at least? Are you active? And your levels of stress. There's also psychological factors, right? Including your coping style, your self-efficacy, your self-esteem, and your hardiness. And your health is also affected by social factors, including the level of social support and the quality of your relationships, which are to a great extent a function of your communication skills. So these are an important component of your capacity to deal with difficult emotions, right? As you remember, every stimulus, whether by a person or event, passes through your body. So what you do to keep your body healthy, both mentally and physically, is very important in moderating the impact of alarming events. You own your body, right? You're the manager of it. And you have a great deal of control over it. So managing your health well is an important first tool for your dealing with difficult emotions toolbox. We have to take self-responsibility of ourselves. You're managing, it's your own body. Sometimes we blame the stimulus, we blame external factors, but at the end of the day, it's our reaction to those stimuli, right? That creates this anger or whatever emotion we have. There are also many other preventive tools for dealing with difficult emotions we've covered that influence how your body reacts to a stimulus, coming to a total of 12. Okay, that we've reviewed so far. So let's review some of them real quick. First, we're going to start off with awareness of your triggers. Being aware of what triggers your emotions gives you the power of being able to remove yourself from those triggering situations, as well as the potential of being able to observe yourself being triggered in such a situation, which gives you power over how you choose to respond to the situation. If you know that if you watch a certain movie, it's going to bring back some memories about your ex, then just don't watch that movie, right? Remove yourself from that situation. The next one is emotions thermometer and emotions log. This is a powerful and useful way to monitor your emotional level that helps you gain awareness and then utilize some tools from your toolbox to gain greater control. When you track your anger, you gain control over it. When you can get an observation about something, you start to gain more power in being able to control it. Right? When you can see your anger or other difficult emotion in action, you have more and more capacity to choose how you will act on them. For this reason, your emotions log is a powerful preventive tool. The next one we want to review is muscle relaxation. The process of flexing, right? We did the fists, and then your face and your neck and whatnot. Flexing and relaxing your muscles reduces tension in your body and reduces the likelihood that you will act in a violent way as a result of coiled up tension in your muscles. So muscle relaxation is also a simple yet effective preventive tool for dealing with difficult emotions. Another very powerful tool is your feeling words vocabulary. We did our homework assignment was on this after session 2, if you remember. The size of your feeling words vocabulary gives you power to communicate your feelings in precise and beneficial ways. If the only words you know are upset and very upset, you will not be able to communicate to your partner, your friend, your spouse, your coworker, etc., what is going on in you in a way that will help them respond in a caring way. As you increase your feeling words vocabulary, your communications will be more explicit, helpful to others in being able to respond appropriately to you, and more satisfying to you as a way of letting off steam and about something before it becomes overpowering for you. So, expanding your feeling words vocabulary is also another useful tool for dealing with difficult emotions. And lastly, deep breathing. Deep breathing is a means to relax your entire body and keep your stress levels under control. The next tool we want to review is imagining a beautiful place. This technique also has relaxation benefits for your body, reducing stress levels and creating a happy mood for yourself. Again, one of the preventive approaches you can take to affect how your body reacts to stimuli that you encounter. Just think of that one place, a beautiful place. It could be a relative's home, a vacation that you took, somewhere you went to relax, a park bench, maybe a pond, a beach, whatever it is, whatever brings a smile to your face, whatever brightens your mood. Go back to that beautiful place when you think you're getting upset about something. Even if it means opening up your phone and looking at some old pictures to remind you of these beautiful places, go for it. But imagine a beautiful place, and that will bring some joy into your life at that moment. The next one is keeping an emotions journal. Journaling is a way to get at observing the events that trigger you, right? Which increases your capacity to control how you respond. A journal of your difficult emotions also has great benefits in letting off some steam. Another powerful preventive approach. If it means you're going to draw, you're very upset, you're going to take it out on the paper, go for it, right? You're going to draw, you're going to write, whatever it is, go for it. That's a way for you to keep track and just let off some steam. The next one is talking with a friend. This is a tool for dealing with difficult emotions that everyone is familiar with, right? And it's an important one, right? Talking with a friend can help you let off some steam, right? Gain some perspective on the problem. And it is also part of building supportive social relationships, which are important for your overall health and well-being as a person. So pick that one or two or three friends that you have in your circle that you can rely on, that you can depend on, that they can keep something in confidence and, let off some steam, right? And this is another important tool that's also very effective. The next one is talking with a counselor or a therapist. This is certainly an important preventive tool for your dealing with difficult emotions because therapists are trained, right, professionals, and they're trained to provide support, beneficial insights, and to help you learn and practice new tools for handling difficult circumstances, right, in your life. The next one is positive self-talk. What you tell yourself about anything in your life makes a big difference in how you respond to that situation. So having some positive self-talk messages you can say to yourself when you're dealing with the stresses of life is a very important tool. Another important tool is communication and conflict resolution skills. Never underestimate the value of being able to work out your problems with key people in your life. Your partner, your kids, your coworker, your friends, your boss at work, etc. Using the skills that we teach in our other courses, relationship and parenting courses, communication and conflict resolution skills, on an ongoing basis will help you nurture caring and cooperation in all of those relationships and will go a long way in preventing the flare-up of difficult emotions. So to summarize all of these preventive tools, all of these preventive approaches work on you as an organism that goes through life encountering various kinds of stimuli, some of which are potentially positive for you and some of which are potentially negative for you. These preventive tools modify what is going on in your body so that you have a milder and easier response to the potentially disturbing stimuli and so that your body doesn't flood over with alarm. Because following again on the left side of your emotions flow chart, if you go back to page 8, after the stimulus is received by your body, chemicals are triggered in your body by the neurotransmitters. And depending upon the extent to which your body receives any stimulus as threatening and the state of alarm that is triggered by the chemicals in your body, the neurotransmitters, an emotion is triggered, which you experience as a feeling. Now, note something very important here. Depending upon the stimulus you receive and the preventive work you have been doing with how you respond to stimuli, you may or may not need some immediate tools for dealing with difficult emotions because in many cases, as you work on your preventive tools, things that used to anger you in the past will not anger you anymore, right? They simply will not trigger a strong response in you because you have become a different person. Remember, it is not the thing out there that causes the anger and other difficult emotions. The thing out there is simply the trigger, right? How you respond to it is created by yours truly, by yourself, right? Every person responds to things in a different way, differently, depending upon all these factors that we've been discussing, from your health, how you sleep, your nutrition, your mental health, etc. So your preventive tools can bring about some powerful changes in you, including finding that you no longer respond to certain situations with the kind of upset that you used to experience. You've changed. You've become a different person. This will be a thrilling experience for you, right? A very liberating and thrilling experience to find that you're no longer triggered in the way you used to be triggered. These preventive tools for dealing with difficult emotions will be very helpful to you in changing the way you receive, process, and respond to threatening situations that you encounter in your life. But you will still experience certain stimuli in ways that you perceive as threatening because we all do. That is part of life. So you will need some immediate tools for dealing with difficult emotions as well. And here is a list of the 12 immediate tools that we've discussed and we're going to review. Number 1, feeling words vocabulary. This is a tool that works both as a preventive tool and as an immediate tool, as we've discussed previously. As you work preventively to expand your feeling words vocabulary, this will give you a clear, immediate perspective on what is going on so you can articulate what you're feeling to yourself, which will help to take the fuel away from the fire, if you will. And if you decide you want to confront the other person through an XYZ message, having a larger feeling words vocabulary will enable you to identify the feeling accurately and satisfyingly, the Z of the XYZ, right? When you send the XYZ message like you learned in our parenting and relationship courses. Number 2, labeling and taking responsibility for your feelings. There is great power in this tool. When you can identify and label what is going on in you and get it that you are creating this reaction inside of you, then you have the power to change how you react to any situation. This is a tool that doesn't look like much, but it is much more powerful than it seems. The next one I want to discuss is taking a timeout. Removing yourself from a stressful situation in order to regain your calm, gain a more helpful perspective, or figure out how you want to handle it without causing damage to yourself, your property, and the other person or the other person's property. Next is emotions log. This can be a way of releasing difficult emotions, writing them down so they aren't buzzing around in your stomach and in your head, right? And at the same time, this can be a way for you to observe patterns in your emotions as they occur over time. A personal record that may give you useful insights about your emotions, what triggers them, and what works especially well in handling them. The next tool I want to discuss is thought stopping. This technique is where you say something to yourself that will get you to stop thinking the thoughts you are thinking. Something immediate and strong that you will respond to, such as, "Don't go there, Alfonso," or "Don't buy into this." Using this simple tool to stop your thoughts from going down a dangerous path is an important means for gaining control over your anger. And the sixth one is counting to 10, or counting to 50, or counting to 100, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes for you to calm down and get some perspective on the situation, and maybe figure out what other tools you want to use in this situation. This is a simple and useful immediate tool to get yourself out of a difficult situation. Let's keep on going. Number 7, drinking some water. This calms your body, gives you something to do, right? Buys you some time, and gives you a chance to gain perspective. Simple and a beneficial thing to do when you're in an immediate situation. Again, it's something that in a social setting, it's not out of place. You know, you're just drinking some water, right? So they won't even know that you're trying to calm yourself down. Another one is listening to soothing music. Listening to soothing music calms your body, changing how you physically react to a threatening stimulus, giving you a different perspective on the situation, giving you control over yourself. So whatever that music is, listening to that music to calm you down. Now, it's helpful to know what music is beneficial for you to turn in stressful situations, right? So again, each person is different. What works for me, it may not work for you, and vice versa. So find that music that is calming to you. The next one, number 9, is exercise. This changes your body's chemistry by stimulating dopamine, which makes you feel good. So this is a powerful way to change your reaction to a situation which you initially perceive as threatening, right? Exercise also improves your ability to focus your attention and solve problems. So exercise is a very beneficial immediate tool as well. The next one is deep breathing. Again, this is another in the long category of dealing with difficult emotions tools that works to change you. And deep breathing is a very beneficial in creating immediate changes in you that result in your being more relaxed, calmer, and more centered in the person you wish to be. All of which give you more gives you more capacity to control the way you respond to a situation that seems threatening. For reference, in the future, there's a quick overview in your workbook on page 20 on how to do deep breathing. The next one is positive self-talk. What you say to yourself in a difficult situation makes a big difference to your capacity, for your capacity to handle it successfully. So it's important to work out a set of positive things you can say to yourself when a difficult emotion is stimulated within you. This moves the inner dialogue to a positive approach by acknowledging your desire and capacity to handle the stressful situation in a calm and skillful way, such as, I can handle this, I got this, I know what to do in a similar situation like this. I am in charge of my own response here, and I know how to calm myself so I will be able to handle the situation well. Finally, number 12, communication and conflict resolution skills. You can use them preventively to keep them from becoming difficult, and these skills are equally valuable as immediate tools for use when a situation arises that could get out of control. When you confront non-blamefully and listen to your partner's response with empathy and acceptance, this will help the two of you move into conflict resolution so that you both can get your needs met and feel good about how things have been resolved. Okay, so now that we have reviewed all of the tools that we've discussed in the course, it's time now to prepare your personal toolbox. We're going to do several exercises now for you to identify which of the tools we've discussed will fit in your personal toolbox to deal with difficult emotions. If you want to go with me to page 20 of your workbook, it's a page titled My Assessment of Tools for Dealing with Difficult Emotions. I want you to look at all the preventive tools that you find here and identify the ones that you have tried, okay, and put a yes in the space next to the ones you have tried that work for you, okay? And I also want you to put a no in the space of those that you have tried that do not work for you. Again, these are only the ones you've actually tried, okay? This plan is for you. We're tailoring, customizing this toolbox, this plan for you. So be honest with yourself here, okay? You're looking for tools that you can use and rely on. So you want to make sure you've tried them all, right? If you haven't done so already, we recommend that you try them all so that you can judge for yourself what are the best tools to have in your plan or in your toolbox. So I'm going to give you some minutes now to look over the page 20 and put a yes and a no in the boxes next to the ones you have tried, right? So again, if you've tried it, either put a yes, I think it's going to help me, or no, I don't think this one's for me. Make sure you go through the preventive list and also the immediate list of tools, okay, on both sides of the page. Also, there's a space for you to add some other tools that you have tried in the past and identify whether those work for you or not. And to make any notes at the bottom of the page that would be helpful to you. Again, this is for you to keep so you can refer back to it in 6 months, in a year. So I want you to write, now that it's fresh in your mind, that we've studied this now, write down some notes here, that things that might be helpful to you. And also some other, maybe there's a tool that we didn't discuss in this class that has helped you in the past to calm down. Then you can write it here as well. Okay, so I'm going to give you some minutes now to review this page and to circle yes or no, and then add additional tools that have worked for you in the past. You can begin. Okay, so now you've identified which tools you believe work for you and which ones do not. So now I'm going to give you another few minutes to look at your toolbox for dealing with difficult emotions on page 21 and write down the tools that you want to put in your box. These are the ones that you've circled in the previous page, right? This is from the list on page 20 of the ones that you've tried and that you say that work for you or that you put yes on, right? Put it in the toolbox here, the preventive tools and also that work for you and also the immediate tools that work for you. Then, once you've done that, at the bottom of the page, write in the tools you haven't tried yet that look promising to you, ones that you want to try. Maybe you haven't never been to a therapist and you're intrigued by that, so you can write that if you think it might help you. Maybe you've heard it from other people that have gone to therapy, it's helped them, and now that we discussed it here in class, maybe you want to write that down, right? I want to write that down because I think it might help me and I might want to try it, right? These might include, some maybe that your partner has tried as well, or a friend or somebody that you know of that helped them, and you might want to try it out as well for yourself. Okay, so if you're ready, I'm going to give you some minutes, and then we'll see you to do one last exercise. You can begin. I'd like you now to turn in your workbook to page 24 to the page called What I've Learned About Dealing with Difficult Emotions. And I want you to fill in your responses to the 5 questions on that page. I want you again to be honest and sincere. This is for your own, for you to help you. It's not for us. I mean, we're not going to see your responses. This is for you. So be sincere. Be honest, be forthright with yourself. And, what have you really learned about dealing with difficult emotions? What have you learned about yourself? Maybe you learned something about yourself you didn't know previously, right? So I want you to take some time now to answer the 5 questions found on page 24. You can begin. Congratulations on completing Dealing with Difficult Emotions. These 3 sessions were filled with a lot of information for your benefit, right? Because again, we're trying to find the tools and create this beautiful toolbox, right? With all these amazing tools inside. And our goal was to customize it for you, especially for you to have these tools available, either preventive or immediate, for you to just open up the toolbox and grab which one you need, right? They're handy, they're there, they're vetted. I've already tried them out. I've discussed them with my partner. I've done the exercises here in the class. I've done the homework assignments. I did the readings, and now I'm confident that these, let's say, 10 tools that are in my toolbox work for me. So congratulations again. I hope that as you go on with your relationships, with your work, with your family, with your friends, and when you encounter certain situations where you have to deal with a difficult emotion, be it anger, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, that these skills, these tools and skills that you've learned in this class will be very beneficial and helpful to you, so that you can, open your toolbox and grab the one you might need, and that you're confident enough that they will work for you because you put the work in. You invested the time, money, and effort to attend this course and to learn these skills that will be helpful to you. Once again, it is my honor and privilege to be your instructor, for this session, sessions 2 and 3. My name is Alfonso from Healthy Relationship, California. Until next time.
I absolutely love that. These last 3 sessions I called Dealing with Difficult Emotions were challenging, but really, really good.
I suggest that you give your partner a high 5. Just being here and committing yourself to go through this program is huge.
We hope that learning these 24 tools was beneficial to you and will help you navigate those difficult emotions that we all experience. But now, you're not flying blind. You now have a guide, the customized toolbox that will help you to manage any difficult emotions that you experience.
Next, we will wrap up the series with a stellar new topic. Can't wait to see you soon.